Ooh. 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 Uzbekistan. Hello and welcome to Andy's World Journeys vlog series for my trip 2019, a trip I went to 10 different countries, and we're up to episode 4, vlog 4 of this amazing journey, and in this episode you will see me head off to the amazing Uzbekistan. I just had the 3 days to visit Uzbekistan. I was just passing through from Tajikistan to Turkmenistan, and as there were no easy flights to be had, I decided that I would take a quick dash across Uzbekistan, just taking in Samarkand, where I've been previously, and the amazing city of Khiva. It was an early morning in Tajikistan when I crossed the border. It was a very easy border crossing, and I actually found that the people in Uzbekistan at the border crossing were extremely friendly and welcoming to Uzbekistan, so that was a great start. Samarkand is one of the premier cities on the Silk Road. The whole city just says Silk Road. I was only making a one-night stop in Samarkand, and what I really wanted to do was to revisit the Register, which is 3 separate madrasas that face into each other in this amazing sort of square in the centre of the city. I found it was a hive of activity. There were a lot of tourists there for November. In fact, there's little trains running around the place, ferrying people from here to there. And it was also a premier destination for wedding photos. And I saw a lot of people getting their wedding snaps, which was really interesting. After a quick stay in Samarkand, the next morning I had a train, a Superfast train, which is one of Uzbekistan's new things over the last few years, to take me to the town of Bukhara. G'day, it's the 8th of November 2019, and I don't know how good this microphone will be, but I'm at Samarkand station waiting for my train to Bukhara, Uzbekistan, and it's going to be an interesting journey. It's a fast train, and after that I'm heading to Khiva by shared taxi, I presume, before heading over to Turkmenistan. So the journey continues, and let's see, the train should be approaching. It said, oh, be careful of the train approaching, so it can't be far away. This was actually a really smooth experience. It was a very comfortable train. It went up to, I don't know, well over 200k an hour. So it got me there fast, it got me there in good time. and I was really impressed by this train. When I was last in Uzbekistan, the trains were a lot slower and lacked air conditioning that worked. From there, I had to hop into, you guessed it, another share taxi. And I had quite the wait this time in Bukhara. It was the longest wait I had. It must have been, I think, 3 or 4 hours before I could, finally we had enough people in the share taxi to make our way westward to Khiva. The journey was interesting because very quickly it turned into pretty semi-arid desert type scenery all around, and for we're on this highway. We were going pretty fast, but there wasn't a lot out there. We saw things on the side of the road occasionally. There was a petrol station or a place to eat, but there were times where we would go for a long time without seeing houses or towns. It was in the evening that we finally arrived at Urgench, and from Urgench, my driver, I was the only one left in the taxi, took me across to Khiva, and I got there quite late at night. It was about 9 o'clock. Khiva was an absolutely gorgeous city. It's UNESCO heritage listed, and it has so many different buildings, madrasas, mosques, museums, absolutely chock full with museums. I don't know where to start. And perhaps my favourite was the Pahlavan Mahmud Mausoleum, which is this, inside you've got a little courtyard, and then you go through and there's this beautiful sort of blue interior, and there were some people who decided to play some music and everyone listened. There was prayer. It was a tomb, but it was very beautiful, and this was for Pahlavan Mahmud, who was, I believe, a wrestler and a lot more as well. And at the same time, there were a couple of weddings going on, or I don't know if they were weddings or if they were just photo shoots, but it seems that while I was in Uzbekistan, it was time to get married. Anyway, so I was very privileged to get a few photos there. Khiva is famous for a couple of minarets as well that tower over. The most noticeable one is the Kulta Minor minaret, which is on a lot of postcards, and I took plenty of photos of too. The Juma Mosque, the Friday Mosque, is this amazing building that inside has a lot of wood. It's got a sunroof, which is something you don't usually see on a mosque. It's like a glass roof in the middle. Lets in some light. There's trees growing there. It's something quite magical. But all good things must come to an end, and I absolutely adored Khiva, but I had to move on because Turkmenistan was on the agenda. The mysterious country of Turkmenistan with some pretty stringent visa rules, and this was going to be a real experience for me. So for that, you're going to have to tune in for the next vlog, Turkmenistan, and see what I got up to there and see how I found the country. So for now, don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Click the button. You can subscribe as well, of course. And don't forget, if you want to read my blogs, go to andysworldjourneys.com. There is heaps of content there. And there's also loads of content here on the YouTube site. So please click subscribe, and we'll see you next time. May the journey never end.